If you're trying to break into tech in 2025, cloud computing is where it's at. Look, I have been in the trenches at both Google and Microsoft as a cloud and AI expert. I've seen how things are made on the inside, and I've also mentored hundreds of people into six-figure roles using what I've learned so far. So today, I am spilling all of my secrets. AI is not just hype, it's literally reshaping every single industry. And cloud computing is the backbone, making it all possible. So today, I am giving you my exact 6-step roadmap, the same one that's helped hundreds of my mentees go from complete beginners to in-demand cloud professionals. Now, step 6 is the most important, so make sure you stick around till the end. Let's dive in. Step 1 is mastering a programming language. And hey, when I say master, I don't mean becoming some coding genius. I am talking about getting really comfortable with one language. That'll be your secret weapon in the cloud. Why is this step so critical? Well, because AI-driven cloud landscape, everything is code. Manual clicking around in the console is really a thing of the past. So which language should you learn? Python is the absolute GOAT. It's readable, versatile, and has incredible libraries that make your life easy. And honestly, no matter which cloud provider you choose, some basic bash scripting skills and Linux commands will save your life daily. So you need to start there. A lot of my mentees ask me when they first start, I just want to work in the cloud. Why do I need to program? I tell them, cloud is programming now. So how do you actually start? Well, here are my top resources. First, hit up free Codecamp's Python course on YouTube, completely free and fantastic for beginners. I literally have mentees who went from zero to hero just with this. You could check out Code Academy or DataCamp's interactive Python courses. They let you code right in the browser, so there's no setup headaches. Give yourself about 6 to 8 weeks to get comfortable with your chosen language, and I recommend Python. I made it very clear here. And please actually code every day, even if it's 30 minutes. Watching tutorials without coding is really like trying to learn swimming by watching YouTube videos. It does not work. I've tried it. Step 2 is where things get real. You need to choose your cloud provider and create a structured learning path. This is where most people get stuck in the analysis paralysis state, jumping between AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud without making progress on any of them. Now, I have seen this happen with so many people. They start AWS on Monday, switch to Azure on Wednesday, and then read about how cool Google Cloud is on Friday. 3 months later, they know a little about everything, but not enough about anything. Don't do that. Why is picking one cloud provider so important? Well, because platforms are massive ecosystems with hundreds of services. Going deep on one provider gives you transferable skills that you can apply elsewhere later. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it being a wrong decision. So I personally started my journey with AWS in 2011 when Google and Azure didn't quite exist as big, right? And later I expanded my learnings to multi-cloud with literally a job at Google and now at Microsoft. But here's my advice. If you're a complete beginner, pick the provider that has the most job opportunities in your local area. Do a quick LinkedIn job search and see what employers are asking for. Once you've picked your provider, you need to then build that structured plan. For AWS, start with AWS Cloud Practitioner Essentials course, then move to the Solutions Architect Associate material. For Azure, Microsoft Learn is an incredible resource. Their guided learning paths for Azure Fundamentals, AZ900, perfect for beginners. For Google Cloud, use the Google Cloud Skills Boost and follow their Cloud Engineer learning path. The key here is consistency. Give yourself 2 to 3 months to really dive deep into your chosen provider. Create a calendar with specific goals for each week. And trust me, This structured approach will put you miles ahead of other candidates. Step 3 is all about certifications, but not for the reasons most people think. Most recruiters and hiring managers don't really care much about the piece of paper. What we do care about is what you actually know. And here's the truth. Certifications aren't really magic resume boosters. They are structured learning paths. They force you to learn a huge range of concepts that you'd probably miss if you were just clicking around randomly in the console. I have watched so many beginners get completely lost in the massive world of cloud services, whichever provider you may choose. Where do you even start when all these cloud providers have 200 plus services? That's where certs are gold. They tell you exactly what to focus on and in what order. When I mentor people, I always say, don't get the cert to get the cert. Get it for the journey. The studying process is where the real value is. You're building mental models and connections between services that you will use every single day in the job. And hey, do they sometimes help with HR screening? Sure, especially at more traditional companies. But that's just a nice bonus. The real benefit is the confidence and structured knowledge that you build along the way. For AWS, the golden pathway: AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, Solutions Architect, AWS Developer Associate. This progression shows you understand both the infrastructure and how to build on it. If you're going to use Azure or choose Azure as your route, then start with Azure Fundamentals, Azure Administrator, and Azure Developer. For Google Cloud, Cloud Digital Leader, Associate Cloud Engineer, and then Professional Cloud Developer. Now, this path gives you both the fundamentals and implementation skills. Now, here's what has changed in 2025. AI specialization certifications are now huge differentiators. AWS has machine learning specialty, Azure has AI Engineer Associate, and Google has the Professional Machine Learning Engineer certification. One non-provider specific cert that's worth its weight in gold is Terraform Associate certification. Since infrastructure as code is essential across all cloud providers, this one gives you serious transferable skills. How do you actually study for these? Well, use a combination of official documentation, practice exams, and hands-on labs. Now, I will put the links to my favorite resources in the description below, but don't just memorize answers. That's the recipe for disaster. Really try to understand the concepts, apply them in real-world scenarios. As one of my most successful mentees said, the certification got me the interview, but understanding the concepts actually got me the job. I recommend giving yourself 4 to 6 weeks per certification, studying consistently. The key is really spaced repetition and lots of practice tests and practicals deep dives into the services. Step 4 is where we start to separate ourselves from the pack. It's all about automation. In 2025, if you can't automate cloud infrastructure, you're basically extinct in the market. Sorry, but that's true. I have reviewed hundreds of cloud job descriptions this year, and nearly all of them mention automation tools like Terraform, CloudFormation, or Ansible. Why is automation such a game changer? Well, let me tell you. At a larger scale, application automation isn't just nice to have, it is absolutely essential. You can't really manually configure anything at scale when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of requests. The foundation of modern cloud automation is infrastructure as code, or IAC. This means defining your entire infrastructure, your servers, your networks, your security policies, everything in code files that can be version controlled and deployed automatically. Let's talk about the stuff that's literally changing the game in 2025: containers, Kubernetes, and serverless architectures. Here's the deal. I cannot stress this enough. If you're not comfortable with these technologies, you are left behind. At Google, we were containerizing everything. At Microsoft, same story. There's a reason for this. Containers give you the consistency across environments. That works on my machine problem is gone. Plus, they are lightweight, portable, and perfect for microservices. Now, Docker is your starting point here. It's how you package your application. Super simple concept, but the impact is massive. But here's where it gets really interesting. Once you have containers, you need to orchestrate them. And that's where Kubernetes comes in. And holy cow, it is a game changer. There is serverless, which honestly feels like magic sometimes. Really, it is not. AWS Lambda, Azure Functions, Google Cloud Functions, Cloud Run, these services let you run code without thinking about servers at all. The beauty of serverless is that it pairs perfectly with automation. You write your function, get your event triggers, and let the cloud handle everything else. Scaling, availability, all of that. So how do you start learning this stuff? Well, for Docker, their official tutorial is amazing. You can be up and running in an afternoon. For Kubernetes, check out Kubernetes the Hard Way by Kelsey Hightower, one of my favorite people, if you want a deep dive. Or just play around with managed service like EKS, AKS, or GKE. For serverless, build something small first, maybe a simple API or a scheduling task. Each cloud provider has great examples to get started here. I recommend spending at least 3 to 4 weeks on containers and Kubernetes and another 2-3 weeks on maybe serverless application architectures. You can combine those two together if you like. These components help you automate and get those skills perfectly and are really the must-haves for 2025 cloud landscape. Now, step 5 in 2025 is the differentiator, learning AI deployment infrastructure in cloud. This is what separates you from rest of cloud engineers right now. Not exaggerating. According to the latest compensation data, AI engineers are earning nearly 9% more than their non-AI counterparts, even at entry level. Now, here's why this matters so much. Every company is now an AI company, whether they know it or not. But AI isn't magic. It needs specialized cloud infrastructure to run efficiently. If you understand that infrastructure, you're golden. Let me break down what you will need to focus on. First, understand the compute infrastructure for AI workloads. At Google, I worked directly on early launch of Gemini, and at Microsoft, I'm alongside GitHub Copilot and Azure AI Foundry teams. These are AI products that are being deployed at scale on the infrastructure. It's simple. AI products hinge heavily on GPU clusters for large-scale model training and serving. You need to understand these hardware configurations, the instance types, and the networking requirements for distributed training. This isn't just theory, it's what powers the AI revolution happening right now. Second is to learn the data infrastructure for AI. This includes your data lakes, your data warehouse, ETL pipelines, and feature stores, all the plumbing that feeds data into the AI systems. Third, get comfortable with the major AI services in your chosen cloud provider. So for AWS, that would be SageMaker, Bedrock, Recognition. For Azure, it would be Azure OpenAI, Azure AI Foundry, Cognitive Services. For Google Cloud, it would be Vertex AI. And fourth is understand AI ML ops, the practice of deploying and maintaining ML models in production or AI applications in production. This includes versioning, monitoring, automation of the entire ML lifecycle. Now, I remember when I first got into this space, there was barely any documentation on it. And now each cloud provider has extensive resources. Use them. AWS has machine learning skill builder path, which is phenomenal for understanding both theory and practical implementations. Azure has AI fundamentals course that ties directly into their cloud infrastructure. And Google Cloud has an entire AI platform learning track that's incredibly comprehensive. One resource that helped me tremendously here was the Full Stack Deep Learning course. It bridges the gap between the building models and deploying them in production environments. For hands-on practice, start with something super simple. Deploy a pre-trained model as an API endpoint. Then work your way up to making it more complex into a scenario like real-time inference or batch processing pipeline. Honestly, give yourself about 1 to 2 months to explore this area. It's complex but incredibly rewarding, both intellectually and financially. Step 6 is where we bring it all together, building a killer portfolio with practical examples. Look, certifications are theoretical knowledge and are great, but employers are really wanting to see what you can actually do. I've interviewed hundreds of cloud engineers and I always ask similar questions, right? Show me what you have built. Those who could walk me through the impressive, well-documented projects always have an edge. Your portfolio is your proof of competence. It shows you can actually apply everything from your previous steps in real-world scenarios. And with GitHub now being basically your technical resume, this step is non-negotiable. Put your practical examples on GitHub. So what should you actually build? Well, I recommend a progressive approach with 3 to 5 projects of increasing complexity. Start with a simple static website hosted on maybe cloud storage with a CDN in front of it. This demonstrates basic cloud services and networking concepts. Document everything with a clear README and architecture diagram. Next, you build a serverless application that uses functions and API gateways and a database, and something like a to-do app could do this job, or a simple API. And this shows that you understand the event-driven architecture and integration between services. Then you create a containerized application that's deployed with Kubernetes, demonstrating your container orchestration skills. Include proper monitoring and logging in there, and for your showcase project, build something that incorporates AI, perhaps a sentiment API or customer comments or an image recognition service. Deploy it with proper CI/CD pipelines, infrastructure as code, and security best practices. The key is to really build projects that demonstrate all the skills that we've talked about: programming, cloud services, automation, and AI integration. Document everything, create detailed READMEs, like I said earlier, with architecture diagrams, deployment instructions, and explanations of your design choices. This documentation is almost as important as the code itself. Make videos walking through your projects, write some blogs. Nothing impresses employers more than seeing you confidently explain your architecture decisions and implementation details. Now, here's an insider pro tip most people miss. Include cost optimization in your projects. Trust me, even the biggest companies care about their cloud bills. So demonstrating this awareness will immediately put you in the top 1% of the candidates. Give yourself maybe 2 to 3 months to build these projects. Quality over quantity is really the name of the game. One exceptional comprehensive project is worth more than 10 half-baked ones. So there you have it, my 6-step roadmap to becoming a cloud engineer in 2025. Let's do a quick recap. Step 1, mastering a programming language. Step 2, choosing your cloud provider and learning path. Step 3 is pursuing a relevant cloud certification. Step 4, focus on automation and containers. Step 5, learn AI deployment infrastructure in cloud. And step 6, building a portfolio with practical example. This roadmap isn't easy. It typically takes about 6 to 8 months of consistent effort, but the payoff is absolutely insane. If you found this video valuable, please like and subscribe for more career-changing content, and drop a comment letting me know which step you're currently on. I read every single comment. And if you want more personalized guidance, check out my website in the description. I personally mentor a small group of students. And thank you for hanging out with me. I'll catch you in the next one.